Watching all this has been Gennaro Gervasio from Macquarie University's Centre for Middle East and North African Studies. He came home this week after being a visiting professor at the American University in Cairo since the middle of last year. I asked him, was it obvious this was brewing?
I couldn't say it was obvious, but there was a good chance because, you know, there were all the conditions in Egypt. There was like high rate of unemployment, a huge feeling of angst amongst the population, the youth population, which reached almost desperation. And after the elections of late November, there was also outrage against the regime and against the president and his son. So the only thing that was missing, it was to break the fear, and that came after the Tunisian example. But after the Tunisian example, I thought that something like that could happen.
Where do you see this going on from here in the long term and in the short term?
Well, I think in the short term, the army will need to take a leading role, and is also at the moment the only institution left in the whole country that still commands respect of the citizens. But if it wants to keep this respect, it will need to act. On the other side, I'm pretty sure that as during the election, there are some plainclothes police that are taking part in the looting and in ransacking of private properties, and that the police is not intervening because of that.
How should the West react to all of this? If there should be a regime change, can the West continue to count on the stability that's always existed, as far as they're concerned, in Egypt?
But I think, you know, the concept of stability, it's very problematic, because what this very weak regime stable was the Tunisian regime stable, then it collapsed because it didn't command any respect from the population. I think at the moment one should wait and see, and particularly respect the popular, the will of the population, and also to maybe to help in an interim period to allow and to help the free debate and freedom of speech rather than dictating rules.
One party in that general region who has yet to be heard from is Israel. Do you think Israel is watching this with deep concern?
Well, I believe so. I mean, the Mubarak regime was always been very cooperative with Israel, and the last example was during the Gaza war and then the Gaza blockade, in which actually Egypt and the current newly appointed vice president Omar Suleiman played a leading role in keeping the Gaza Strip closed, in fact. So they have a huge interest. They are deeply concerned, but at the moment they are waiting and to see what is going to happen.
Dr. Gennaro Gervasio, thank you so much for coming into the studio and talking to us.
Thank you very much. I'm here. Thank you.